Okay, good morning, everyone. I am Dorisa Cruz, the Acting Deputy Bronx Borough Commissioner for the New York City Department of Transportation. I'm very excited today to be here to talk about the completion of one of our very important projects in the Bronx, a protected bike lane on Soundview Avenue. I'm very excited to be here and to continue to make the Bronx safer for all residents. And I'm very excited to introduce our New York City Department of Transportation Commissioner, Adonis Rodriguez.
Come on, let's give a real big applause to Darisa for the great job. Now, if anyone has a question about where the borough has been, for Mayor Adams' priority and all of us as elected officials, first of all, we have a great person, in charge of our Bronx Borough President in the intern capacity, doing a great job, We've been here 3 times in this month in the Bronx. We were there in Sheridan Boulevard, in a great project that started a long time ago, when Councilmember Salamanca, Borough President, the Deputy Borough President, also representing the Borough President there, and the other elected officials, Assemblyman Burgos and all the Councilmember Salamanca. And then we were there in Grand Concourse, finishing a project together, Borough President, myself, recognizing how more than $60 million completion project in Grand Concourse. I started with the vision and the money from former Congressmember Jose Serrano, now represented by Congressman also Richie Torres, doing a great job. And this is what this borough is all about, is continuity. So today we are doing our commissioner in the borough, something that started as we took office in January 1st last year under the direction of Mayor Eric Adams, borough that were not getting the love translated with money and attention, was unacceptable. And that's why the Bronx, Staten Island, and underserved community are not forgotten area anymore. And the data is showing by itself, how money being invested, how attention is being also given to those communities. So I'd like to say good morning everyone for being here. It's a great day, again, where the Bronx is getting the respect and dignity that this borough, composed mainly by working class and middle class New Yorkers, deserve. I'm honored to be here alongside Councilmember Farias, a great leader. It's great to have one of 2 former council members who really understand that the conversation about transportation, planning about transportation, is more than middle class and upper class. And New Yorkers that have PhD, master, or BA, it's about working class that deserve to be on the table to talk about transportation. Transportation touches the life of every single individual. And under the leadership that we have here and many other partners from the advocate community, this is what is happening under Mayor Adams' administration. We also are here, again, with great colleague, friend, Board President Vanessa Gibson. A big round of applause for her too. And we will get into a few details about what this project means about. But again, last few weeks ago, we were here in the Sheridan Boulevard, doing another project connecting that community for pedestrians, for cyclists. Our agency, again, is giving top priority under my time. Not only I'm the first Latino commissioner, beside the other great brothers that we have as a transportation commissioner, a person of color who only hold this job for a few months. But I also been the commissioner that since I arrived here in 1983, I've been living in underserved community my whole life in Inwood. So I lived those years, advocating for the voice of that community. As 2 council members, we were there advocating for our district also to be invited to the table. Here we had this opportunity. A former council member, borough president in charge of the whole borough of the Bronx, having Mayor Adams also a great leader, advocating and putting resources on the community. And in my case, and other colleagues that also were here saying, the conversation about transportation is more than the academic sector and the middle and upper class to come to the table. This is about working class community also being on the table, planning together. Biking and walking is good for the health of everyone. When anyone ride a bike half an hour every day, extending an average of 6 years to their life. So we need to go to the interfaith community, as we will have conversation today. We need to go to the school and have this conversation, say, if you bike every day, you can live 6 more years. But in order for that to happen, we need to engage in those conversations with the grassroots movement that never were invited in the past. Decision was making the past from all the sector coming to the working class community, but this will not be the case anymore under our time as a commissioner, Mayor Allen. We are improving Soundview Avenue by adding parking protected bike lane that provide a critical connection to the Soundview bike network in New York City Ferry at Class on Point Park. This new design creates a much calmer corridor for everyone on the street, and is so much easier for pedestrians looking to cross. Soundview Avenue needed this attention. Based on safety data, we have named it a Vision Zero priority corridor with 119 injuries over a 5-year period before the pandemic. 9 of those injuries were severe, and 1 pedestrian unfortunately lost their life at Soundview Avenue and Lafayette Avenue in 2020. 30% of motor vehicle injuries were caused by rear-end collisions or side swipes, which is usually a sign of speeding in our city. As you can see, cyclists and riders using a scooter as part of our successful East Bronx program are now able to travel along 1.5 miles of parking protected bike lanes between Auburn Avenue and Lafayette Avenue, providing a safe north-south connection to east-west lane at Lafayette Avenue. We know a street design that includes protected bike lanes increase safety for everybody on our road. When we change the streets like we did here, we see real results as follows. 15% drop of all crashes with injuries. Come on, let's give them a round of applause. And thank you to the teacher for the work that they're doing, okay? They are the future cycling in our city, too. So, again, repeating the number, we see real results. 15% drop in all crashes with injuries. 15% drop on motor vehicle occupant injuries. 21% drop in pedestrian injuries on the streets where protected bike lanes were installed from 2007 to 2017. Our design also added pedestrian refuge, a space at intersection to improve visibility, shorten crossing distance, and address left turn and right angle crashes. We also added left turn bays at Lafayette Avenue to improve safety and flow. These enhancements reduce speeding and calm the entire corridor by better organizing the roadway. It's great to celebrate this project outside PS 69. And I want to recognize Kim for the great job that she does running our educational department, where we have touched hundreds of schools and senior centers and the Liberita community, working 24/7 to be sure also that we do our part, educating our community about the importance to take care of the safety. So thank you, Kim, for the great job that you do here at DOT. Look, we will get into more details from the other colleagues here, but I want to say this. Yesterday, I went to a conversation about how New York City and United States is doing their part to reduce to zero emission. That's our goal. And as I was participating in that conversation around 53rd Street, I told the participants, most of them global leaders, I say, here we are speaking about how the whole world is working toward this goal. Yes, we need to address the level of contamination because Ida, Maria, Katrina, they're real. Those are natural disasters. But I told them, because from there you can see the Bronx. And I say, but 10 miles from here, there's community that are dealing with asthma and obesity. And we need to be sure that we give them options. So we are here on the Mayo Island celebrating the work that we do together, recognizing that there's a lot of work that we got to do. It is our goal to connect all community through our city bike and micromobility, a scooter and other motor transportation. Last year in New York City, we had 200 million bike ridership in our streets. They're real. They're part of our community. And what we have to push ourselves is to be sure that the cycling community also include our working class community. So I would like to say thank you to, the advocate, TA, Family for Safer Street, for being partners with this. Thank you to the elected official. It is a hard work that we got to do. When we go to community and we push for more bus lane and bike lane, we need to start it in the grassroots level, being sure that community get all the information from the beginning so that they can see the benefit as we build the infrastructure of more protected bike lane and more space for pedestrians. In 1 minute, quiero dar las gracias a todos los que tenemos aquí, a la presidenta del condado, Vanessa Gibson, a la concejal Farias, a grandes líderes que tenemos, por otro aplauso a nuestros niños que son el futuro. Estamos aquí un día muy importante, donde estamos anunciando otro proyecto más que estamos haciendo en el Bronx. Este es uno de los 3 que hemos estado terminando en este último mes. Hicimos uno terminando un boulevard de peatón en la avenida de Sheridan. Hicimos otro terminando un proyecto de $60 millones en Grand Concourse. Y hoy estamos aquí haciendo del Bronx un destino más donde la persona trabajadora puede encontrar mejores lugares para ellos poder caminar y para ellos poder también montar su bicicleta. Ahora vamos a escuchar a 2 de los oficiales electos, que son nuestros aliados. Let's now see here from 2 great elected officials, Board President Vanessa Gibson and Councilmember Farias.
Good morning, everyone. Buenos días a todos. What a great morning to be here for this exciting announcement regarding the completion of the redesign of Soundview Avenue here in the East Bronx, as well as the expansion and the investment of our biking infrastructure here in our great borough. I am Bronx Borough President Vanessa L. Gibson, and I'm excited to be here on this beautiful Wednesday morning with our New York City DOT Commissioner, Idanis Rodriguez, my former colleague in the City Council when we started Vision Zero years ago, as well as our acting Bronx Borough Commissioner, Darisa Cruz, our council member, Amanda Farias, all of the DOT staff, as well as the leadership of PS69X right here in the Soundview community. We stand united and truly in our collective efforts to make sure that we achieve safe streets in our city. Unfortunately, the Bronx has some of the highest rates of traffic violence and traffic fatalities in our borough. We know, and we have seen the data, and we know that when you install protected bike lanes, not only does it protect our cyclists, but it protects pedestrians, older adults, individuals with disabilities, as well as our children. We need all hands on deck in our overall goal to achieve safe streets. These are our streets that must be shared. Whether you are a pedestrian, a cyclist, you are a driver, we need everyone to understand that this is an opportunity to share our infrastructure. And we know that when we often have conversations around protected bike lanes, it is one that is often met with a level of resistance. And we understand that when you install road dieting measures where you're reducing 2 lanes of traffic to 1, east-west connections, we know that there are many individuals who own vehicles that are often upset. But I also remind everyone in our borough that at any given time, you could be one of those victims of traffic violence. So it is our collective responsibility as an administration led by Mayor Eric Adams to achieve safe streets in the Bronx. This new project, adding 1.5 square miles of protected bike lane here on Soundview Avenue, is a part of our overall commitment. And adding to that, when we begin Lafayette Avenue, an additional 2.6 square miles of protected bike lanes, coupled with enhancing pedestrian plazas, crosswalks so that they're all safe, and really achieving Vision Zero. When we work with organizations like Transportation Alternatives, Families for Safe Streets, Bike NYC, we know that a lot of this work is truly about education. It is about outreach. We want residents to respect our cyclists. We want cyclists to respect our pedestrians. This is a shared responsibility. And it is a part of our overall effort to make sure that no mother and no father has to get that unfortunate phone call that their loved one was a victim of traffic violence. We can do better, and the Bronx deserves better. This community of Soundview is a community of working class individuals, homeowners, renters that have invested in the Soundview community. This project adds to that investment, not taking away. So I'm very glad that our administration and the Department of Transportation recognizes the importance of east-west connections to the Soundview ferry stop and all of the other components that we're going to add in our borough. This is about transportation equity and what I call transportation justice, because it is an injustice if we deny residents access to transportation and different modes of transportation, like the new Metro North expansion in the East Bronx, which Councilmember Farias and I are working closely on. We deserve all of these investments in the Bronx. And we want to make sure that all of our residents, our children, our families, our older adults understand that we are investing in these measures to improve their quality of life, to keep residents safe in our streets. And in addition, as a part of a number of these efforts, whether it's Boogie on the Boulevard, the Grand Concourse reconstruction, the Sheridan work, the new bike lanes that we installed on Bronxdale, in the Morris Park community, all of this is a part of our blueprint as an administration. And next month, for anyone that is a bike rider, I encourage you to work with us. We are joining the Department of Transportation Alternatives for our 2023 annual Tour de Bronx. It is the largest free cycling event in the state of New York. Thousands of riders participate every year, and I'm proud to say that Soundview Avenue is a part of the tour of the 25 and the 40-mile race. Now, I don't know if I can do the 40-mile. I did the 25-mile last year, and I think I'm going to stick with that. But I am asking all of my colleagues to join us in this effort, because if you understand, cycling is a part of health and wellness. It can reduce asthma rates. It can reduce heart disease and diabetes and obesity, a lot of health disparities that we face every single day. So if you understand that all of this comes together in a collaborative way to keep residents safe, to build healthy families, and to stabilize our borough. So I'm proud of this moment. I'm proud of this achievement, and I look forward to achieving even more of this as we achieve safe streets for our residents and families of our great borough. So once again, thank you, New York City DOT. Thank you to our borough office, to Kim and the education team, to all of our educators, and everyone who has a shared vision for achieving safe streets here in the great borough of the Bronx. Gracias.
Thank you for pressing. And those lines, as you explained, the benefit of biking, those are the lines that we need to go to the community and the advocate. We need to go down to the grassroots level. And with the elected officials, the agency, people, the working class community, they were not invited to be part of this conversation about the benefit of biking. So when we get some resistance in some community, a lot has to do also with community not being invited. And I think, speaking, we're going to be doing more work with the Department of Health, Department of Education, because it's going to be about bringing those conversations to the working class community. It will turn in more support as we try to do some projects. I also want to acknowledge Bike New York for the great job also doing it. They want also partner with doing also Biketober, teaching adults how to ride the bike. But now let's give it the opportunity also for Councilman Farias, a great champion, again, on making the street safer for pedestrians and cyclists. Here, your council member, Farias.
Thank you. Good morning, Soundview. I'm Councilmember Amanda Farias, and I proudly represent the Soundview community and the New York City Council. Today is an exciting day for me and our community. Prior to my first term, our community had little to no protected bike lanes, making micro-mobility and sustainable transportation nearly unattainable for all of us, along with no real way for people to travel safely on bikes and scooters. Hi. Thanks to my eagerness and New York City Department of Transportation being equally ready to work, we now have 1.5 miles of new protected bike lanes, which have dramatically enhanced our transit safety and accessibility. This bike route that we are currently standing next to is a protected pathway from the Soundview Ferry Terminal that leads directly up to the rest of our community, making our businesses easier to visit, our homes easier to go to, our transit options more accessible, and our day-to-day lives easier. Infrastructure upgrades like what we have here have shown to reduce traffic deaths and serious injuries by 30%, according to DOT data. Due to the safety that protected bike lanes bring, I made it a top priority of mine to make sure our community had the safety we deserve. And as a young student that I both attended PS 69 and Holy Cross across the way. I'm proud to be standing here at the intersection of us providing real safety infrastructure for our students, for our families, for our deliveristas. I mean, this is not only safety that we needed when I was walking to and from school and when my brother and I were skateboarding to and from school, but it's also the economic driver that people need to have their day-to-day jobs every single day. And I'm proud to be an active agent in changing that infrastructure for our community. So again, that's why I'm proud to have made the promises of bringing more safety infrastructure to our community, and these bike lanes help make that an actual reality in my first term. Finally, thank you to Commissioner Rodriguez, a partner. We can keep going back and forth on complimenting each other. A partner, a real partner in this, and the entire team at the Department of Transportation for your hard work and your commitment to finally bringing transit safety to the South Bronx. I'm proud to be standing with all of you here today. Thank you to our great partner, Borough President Vanessa Gibson, our transit advocates, transportation alternatives, our PTA from PS 69, and everyone here to celebrate this great occasion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Again, I would like to say thank you to Ms. Roman, the president here, the PTA president. So, and now let's hear to say a few words from both, like the representative from TA by New York to come and say a few words.
All right. Good morning. I didn't expect to be speaking today. I'm the project manager. My name is Ben Schwade from the Department of Transportation. I'm really happy to be here to be celebrating the completion of this really exciting protected bike lane here in Soundview. As you all have heard today, this is a really important safety project. It's a really important equity project for a neighborhood that deserves these resources. And I've been thrilled to have the opportunity to help work on it. And so thank you to Commissioner Rodriguez, Borough President Gibson, Councilmember Farias, and everybody for being here today. So, yeah,
thank you. So again, like, we do this thing together. This is about our staff, but this is about the advocate community. You know, DOT is so blessed to have so many great individual. Retention is key at DOT. Many of these projects started, like, you know, we did 27 miles of bike lane last year, but this is started with 7 miles that was done for the first time on January time as a commissioner of DOT. But we will not be at 27 without starting those 7 miles. Like, I was there in the Biketober last year in Brooklyn. I saw Bike New York, who also were there teaching adults how to ride the bike. So we've been coming from for a far place, but there's a lot of work that we got to do. So I would say thank you to both TA and Bike New York, Family for Safer Street. Let's give them a big round of applause for the great job that they do.